Welcome back to Studio Chatter. Every January, we enter into what some consider the scariest time of the year. We are talking about the state legislature. To help us understand what's going on is our local state senator, Deidre Henderson. Welcome to a safe zone.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
So let us just preface this a little bit. Our representative, Mike McKell, said that the 45 days at the state legislature can be some of the scariest.
Well, I mean, that's true.
But taxes could go up.
Right? There's all kinds of crazy things that could happen. But the way to counter that, it's actually very simple, is to pay attention, follow along. There's this great app it's the Legislative Bill Watch app. If you get on your in the App Store on your phone, you can download this from the Utah State Legislature, and you can follow along with the bills that are important to you, and contact your state representative or your state senator. And I can't tell you how many times one person has actually changed the course of legislation and made a difference. So we're part-time legislators, and we don't always know everything, obviously, and so when citizens get involved, it can make a huge difference.
Have you always been this passionate about local stuff?
Local
Politics.
I've always been a political junkie. I guess.
Since when? I mean, before you were married, or did you just wake up in the morning and just say, I'm going to be a senator?
I'll run for the state senate today.
That's right, yes.
It didn't exactly happen like that.
Okay.
I've always been a political junkie. I got married really young. I had 5 children by the time I was 28. And
Bless your heart.
And so, I just didn't think really much about getting involved locally, but I always paid attention to what was going on. And then when my youngest was started school, I met Jason Chaffetz for the first time. It was 10 years ago this month, actually, when he was running for Congress for the first time. He was a no-name candidate. Nobody knew who he was. He had no money, and he just needed a bunch of volunteers. And I kind of accidentally bumped into him, and I volunteered to make phone calls for him. Eventually, I became his campaign manager, and I ended up running his political operation out of my laundry room here in Spanish Fork for 4 years.
Wow.
For 4 years.
For 4 years, right. And then in 2012, there was a new state senate seat that opened up in our area, and I decided, because of the experience I'd gotten over the previous 4 years, I decided, what the heck? So I ran for it.
That is amazing. So going into this session, is there anything in particular that we should keep our eyes open for, that you're particularly interested in, that women should be interested in, mothers?
Well, there's always a lot.
Okay.
There's always a lot to pay attention to. We've got a lot of big issues. The most important thing we do is pass the budget, and we have to figure out how to adequately fund education for the kids, and fund our roads and all of those important things. But there are a couple of things that I'm really excited about this session. One issue that's coming up in 2020, actually, is the 100th anniversary, the centennial celebration of the 19th Amendment. Now, maybe everybody doesn't know exactly off the top of their head what the 19th Amendment is, but that gave women across the country the right to vote. And so that was in 1920. So in 2020, we're going to be celebrating the 100th anniversary. So we're kind of gearing up for this. And there are a couple of pieces of legislation that we're looking at this year passing. One of them is a license plate, because actually Utah women were the first to vote in the modern nation. We had the right to vote 50 years before the 19th Amendment was passed. And a lot of people don't realize that. Here in Utah, we were the first.
That seems
so
incredible.
Exactly. So I'm running a piece of legislation that's going to create the first to vote license plate that people can put on their cars. And I'll be the first one to sign up for it.
Wow, that is very cool.
And the year we became a state in 1896, we had another first. That was the year that the very first female state senator in the nation was elected from Utah, Martha Hughes Cannon. So another piece of legislation that we're going to be running is going to say, we're going to put a statue of Martha Hughes Cannon in the United States Capitol in Washington, D.C. Every state is allowed to have 2 statues. And right now we've got Brigham Young and a man named Philo T. Farnsworth, which some of you may know. He invented the television. But we're going to bring Philo home and honor him here at home and send Martha to Washington.
Was that a hard switch? Like, who did you have to convince for that one?
Well, we haven't convinced them yet. We're running that legislation, so that's one of the things we're working on this year.
Wow, that's cool. Utah has been a leader.
Yes, and people don't know this. People don't know.
So what are some other key ones?
Well, there's always I'm the rules chair. So every bill comes across my desk. And I've just spent the last 2 days reading all of the numbered bills so far. There's about 200 numbered bills so far. And there's everything from getting rid of the sales tax on food is one of the bills. Another one is a resolution, calling on Utahns to put to put shades on their outdoor lighting. I mean, it's the gamut.
Okay.
There's all kinds of interesting
So
things.
the
Some
last
things are really
year or two, medical marijuana has come across your desks. It hasn't passed. Do you think this year will be the year?
I don't know if we're going to see legislation because there is an initiative that's being run right now. Now, under the Obama administration, the federal government turned a blind eye to states that legalized marijuana, both medical and recreational. But the Trump administration has said that they're not going to do that. It doesn't matter what the states choose. If the states say it's legal, it's still illegal federally. And the Obama administration turned a blind eye, but the Trump administration has said they're going to start prosecuting. So it's a little bit. We've run into some tricky issues, and really, if we want medical marijuana done the right way, there needs to be a change at the federal level.
Wow, that's interesting. I had not heard any of that.
Yeah, so I don't know if we'll see another piece of legislation this session. My guess is probably not because of that initiative that's being run.
Interesting. I hadn't heard that. What about, do you guys have any questions? Cell phones, driving.
Okay, so there's always attempts to kind of tighten that down every year. I don't know, what's going to happen this year, but I do know that there is a state senator who is looking at running legislation to require hands-free only. So we'll see where that goes.
These are tough things because a lot of things, nothing is just black and white. There's so much gray.
Yeah, there is. There really is.
I see that in city council. You hear one side and then you hear the other side, and it's hard because it's really gray.
It is. And I don't know, maybe the technology is not there yet for everybody. I mean, people who have older cars, it may be difficult for them to have hands-free only, but, eventually it'll probably get there.
Yeah.
It can still wait. Put it in the backseat. Put it in the glove compartment. I'll just voice my opinion, yes.
No, I hear you. The good news is most of the things that we do during the legislative session don't have a serious impact in your lives. Like it's not 535 bills that are telling you what to do.
Right.
Most of them are actually cleaning up the messes we made the year before.
Okay. So let's invite everyone who is interested to attend Bills and Bagels. Do you know the dates off the top of your head?
I don't off the top of my head, but they are going to be I know they'll be in, I think both of them are in February. Maybe one in February, maybe one in March.
February 3rd, and then the second one's in February, but I don't remember the date. They're both on Saturdays, 7:15 a.m., and it's where all of the local representatives and senators are there to answer questions. So anyone that's home with their kids and politically involved but still wants to come and...
Where would they go for that? Where would you go?
I'll have the information on my Facebook page.
Oh, okay.
So if you sign up on my or if you come and like my Facebook page, you'll have information there, and I also send out a
Your
newsletter.
personal Facebook? Oh, okay. But I think I did already. So
Yeah, the meeting is at the Nebo School District, I think.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Thank you, Deidre.
Yes,
Good luck.
thank you so much. We'd love to have you back after the fact.
Yeah.
Yes, keep us up to date. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Coming up next, the cutest cookies anywhere. I can't wait.